Andrews used to conjure up images of a musical goody two-shoes, but not anymore. The premiere of her latest film, That's Life, gave Peter and I an excellent excuse for a night on the town. Movie fans came by bus and they lined up in the rain at the Toronto Film Festival for the premiere of That's Life. It was a chance for some to get a glimpse of the stars fighting their way through the crowds. And for us to dress up and feel a part of this gala event. The big attraction was Julie Andrews. She's probably used to the frenzy of opening nights, but this time she's especially proud. In That's Life, she stars with her daughter, Emma Walton, her stepdaughter, Jennifer Edwards, and good friend, Jack Lemmon. Julie plays the strong mother of a problem-filled family, and while going through her own crisis, she manages to hold them together, like in this scene with her daughter, Emma.
I'm feeling off and not feel anything.
Oh, don't say that. Just be grateful that you can feel. Wouldn't it be terrible to be someone who went through their whole life without feeling anything?
Julie's talents were first noticed when she sang at only 8 years old. 5 years later, she gave a Royal Command performance at the London Palladium, and by 19, Julie was on Broadway. Her film career began with an Academy Award for Mary Poppins, then a nomination for The Sound of Music, which became the highest box office hit of all time.
May think this kind of adventure never may come to you.
Julie was married for the second time to director Blake Edwards in 1969. They've made 7 films together, including 10, SOB, and Victor Victoria.
It was a pleasure working with you.
Blake also directed That's Life, and with their daughter starring in the film, it's truly a family affair.
Where did you learn to talk so fast?
Where do you think?
Peter had an opportunity to meet with Julie when she was in Toronto to talk about her new movie.
I'm very struck by a scene, Julie, if I may call you that.
Sure.
In That's Life, in which you're up there, maybe as they often ask you to do, to sing at a party, and you don't quite go through with it because of reasons that we don't have to mention. And I said to myself as a member of an audience, that's funny, I don't think of Julie Andrews as a singer anymore. I think of her as an actress, and that being my reaction, what's your reaction to that thought?
Well, I hope that somewhere along the line I could be considered both, because the pleasure for me is being able to kind of swing between the two and sometimes combine the two.
There was so much singing earlier in your career, and you stunned people by the fact that you could sing over such a range and with such style that it really overwhelmed the acting part, and you had to learn that. You had to work hard at it, I think.
Well, I kept trying to sort of do marvelous films in between the singing roles, and certainly they were wonderful movies, but I guess the singing movies, the musicals like Sound of Music and Poppins and things, they were so successful that those are the things people remember first.
What place does singing have in your life now, then? Is it in the shower or to
No, it has.
family?
It still has a very important place in my life because it's something I've done since I was a child, and I was trained to do it. So for me, it's a very important part of my life. And there's nothing more grand and glorious than singing well with an orchestra. That's a great thrill, a tremendous turn-on. But having said that, the thrill for me also is to be as diversified as possible.
You also say something in the movie that caused a reaction in the audience, certainly where I was sitting, because you turn to Jennifer Edwards, who plays one of the daughters of Jack Lemmon and yourself, and say, there's nothing more important in life that a woman can do than be a mother. I'm paraphrasing. Some people around me, women, groaned.
Oh, really?
Well, what's your reaction to that?
I think that actually the expression was there's nothing that nobody... It's the most important thing you do in life is to have a baby.
Okay.
And that nobody ever teaches you about it or tells you what to expect.
Yes.
Unless you're smart enough to go and, take some classes and so on, which most people do. But it's, I think, a mother having a first child, listen, it's an absolute miracle having a baby, and I think it probably is, when all is said and done, one of the most important things a woman does. There's a ton of other stuff that's important too, but God, that you can't say it's not important.
You play such an admirable and strong maternal and womanly figure in the film, don't you?
Stoic lady, yes.
How close is that to you and to the...
A lot of people have asked that. I don't know. I suppose there certainly are parts of me in the character because we were all allowed to contribute Blake gave us great freedom in dialogue and asked us to contribute and say things the way we felt like saying them. But I've never been in a life-threatening situation the way that lady in the film was, and I guess I'm not as stoic as that. I do panic a lot more and go to pieces a lot more. But thank heavens she does kind of pull herself together by the end of the movie.
Your own upbringing was extraordinary because you were on the road with your mom and your stepfather. Do you look at this family in the film and envy it in a way, or did you have that when you were growing up?
I think you feel about this family, in spite of all that they go through over the weekend, and the wife threatens to quit and leave the husband and so on and so forth, I don't think you ever doubt for 1 second that they would tear apart. They know each other so well. They're so rooted in all that they've been for so many years. This family on film, certainly, I don't think would crumble, in spite of all the craziness that goes on. It's really about love, and in a funny way it works. In my case, the family was kind of torn apart, so they're certainly not alike in that respect.
But family's important to you, and you have extended a family really around the world, isn't it?
We have a large family. We have, between us, his, mine, and ours, we kind of have 5 children, and 3 of them have grown up and gone, and those are the kind of 3 that are represented in a way in the movie. And we still have 2 little ones at home.
And you're active with foster children around the world. What are you trying to tell them? I mean, we can extrapolate messages from all of your films, and they're all fairly positive, but what are you trying to tell young people about what this is that we're getting into when they grow up?
I don't know if you can tell them much. I think you can hopefully provide an arena for awareness. I mean, if they would just be brave enough to open their heads, open their minds, and really see and smell and hear what's all around them, which is a wonderful world if they will only really look. But life gets a bit frenetic once in a while, and it seems to be ever getting faster and faster, and I just hope they have time to kind of stop and smell the flowers once in a while.
In your own life, as we conclude, is that something that you've always been able to do, or is it a lesson that you've had to relearn as your career got crazy?
It's something one's constantly reminding oneself about, I think, because life is frantic and busy and very, very stimulating. And if you're not fairly rooted in who you are, and that's very hard to do these days, if you're not really rooted in who you are, you can go off at tangents and get sidetracked. And life is very, very wonderful. Listen, it's all we've got. So it's, in my opinion, terribly important to extract the best possible quality out of it that you can. It sounds awfully pompous, doesn't it?
It's at this point where I should ask you to burst into song, but we're out of time.
Thank you for not asking.
Okay. Pleasure to meet you.
Yes, you too, Peter.